Close your eyes for a second and imagine your last day on this earth, a moment when there is no more tomorrow. At that point, one question will echo louder than anything else. What did I really do with my life? We live in a world where people scroll endlessly on their phones, chase deadlines, and follow routines like robots. But let me ask you, if today was the last day of your life, would you be proud of the way you're living? Would you smile and say, yes, I lived fully? Or would regret whisper, I wish I had done more? This speech is not about success tips, money, or fame. It's about you, your choices, your purpose, and the silent question that everyone avoids. What are you really doing with your life? And if you stay with me till the end, I promise you'll walk away with clarity, urgency, and a fire inside you to live, not just exist. We talk about money all the time. We chase it, we save it, we spend it, and we complain when we don't have enough of it. But have you ever noticed how rarely we talk about time with the same urgency? And yet time is the only currency in life that doesn't come back once it's spent. You can lose money and make it back tomorrow. You can fail in business and start again. But the moment that just passed, the one that slipped away while you were checking your phone or thinking, I'll do it later, that's gone forever. Here's the truth. Every single day, your life account is being withdrawn. Whether you use the hours wisely or waste them carelessly, they are gone at the same rate. Tick, tick, tick. That's why people who truly understand the value of time live differently. They don't see a day as just 24 hours. They see it as a priceless opportunity to build, to grow, to connect, to love, to move closer to the person they want to become. Think about this for a second. If you woke up tomorrow and someone handed you $86,400 and told you spend it today because at midnight, whatever is left disappears, would you just leave it sitting there? Of course not. You'd plan carefully, you'd spend intentionally, and you'd make sure not a single dollar went to waste. Well, every day, life gives you 86,400 seconds. And just like that money, every second you don't use is gone forever at midnight. The difference is you can't earn more tomorrow. You just start with a new 86,400 and the clock resets, moving you closer to your final day. The saddest thing, most people don't realize the price they're paying until it's too late. They say things like, I'll start next week, I'll chase my dreams later, I'll fix my relationship someday. But someday isn't on the calendar. Someday is the excuse we give ourselves so we can stay comfortable today. And by the time someday finally arrives, we've already lost years of our lives to hesitation. I'm not saying you have to be busy every second. This isn't about working harder, it's about living wiser. If you're spending time with the people you love, that's an investment. If you're learning, creating, serving, or even resting intentionally so you can be better tomorrow, that's an investment. But if you're scrolling endlessly, gossiping, or simply existing with no direction, you're letting your most valuable asset slip through your fingers like sand. So here's the question. When the clock strikes midnight tonight and your 86,400 seconds are gone, will you look back and feel proud of how you used them? Or will you quietly admit you wasted another day you'll never get back? Because the truth is, how you spend your time is how you spend your life. We all love comfort, don't we? A warm bed, a safe routine, a life where things are predictable. And on the surface, there's nothing wrong with that. Comfort feels good, it gives us security, it makes us feel in control. But here's the catch. Comfort is also the silent thief of growth. It's that invisible force that keeps you stuck where you are, convincing you that this is enough, when deep down, you know you were made for more. Think about it, every significant thing you've ever achieved in your life came on the other side of discomfort. Learning to ride a bike, you fell, scraped your knees, maybe even cried, but eventually you rode. Speaking in front of a class, your palms were sweaty, your voice shook, but afterward, you stood a little taller. Even love, real, vulnerable, messy love, requires the risk of rejection. Nothing worthwhile comes from staying in the bubble of safety. The danger with comfort is that it tricks you into believing you have time. It whispers, you can start tomorrow. You can play it safe, you can avoid the hard thing. And slowly, without even realizing it, days turn into months. Months turn into years, and you look back wondering why your life hasn't changed. Comfort didn't just keep you safe, it kept you stuck. There's a phrase I like to remind myself of. If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Growth doesn't happen in the familiar. It happens when you step into the unknown, when you risk failure, when you stretch yourself beyond what feels. That's why the gym hurts before it transforms you. That's why starting a business feels terrifying before it becomes rewarding. That's why having tough conversations feels uncomfortable before they heal relationships. Here's the truth. Your comfort zone is not where your best self lives. Your best self is just beyond it, waiting for you to have the courage to step through fear, through doubt, through uncertainty, and yes, it will feel awkward. Yes, it might even hurt. But ask yourself this: what's more painful, temporary discomfort or permanent regret? The people you admire, the ones who inspire you, they weren't born fearless. They just decided that comfort wasn't worth the cost of potential. They leaned into the struggle, and in doing so, they discovered strength they didn't know they had. And the same is true for you. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you expand who you are. You unlock another layer of your potential. So the next time you feel that knot in your stomach, that hesitation that makes you want to pull back, remember, that's the doorway. That's the sign you're in the right place. Because growth never feels cozy in the beginning. And if you keep choosing what feels safe, you'll miss the life that was waiting for you beyond the edge of your comfort zone. We live in a world that constantly sells us pleasure. It's everywhere. Scrolling through endless feeds, binge-watching shows until the sun comes up, chasing likes, chasing thrills, chasing the next quick hit of excitement. And sure, it feels good in the moment. But have you noticed how those moments of pleasure fade so fast? They give you a spark, but not a flame, a high, but not a foundation. And when it's over, you're left searching for the next thing to fill the emptiness. That's because pleasure and purpose are not the same. Pleasure is temporary, purpose is lasting. Pleasure says, do what feels good right now. Purpose says, do what will matter in the long run. One gives you a rush, the other gives you fulfillment. And the truth is, if you spend your life chasing pleasure, you'll keep running in circles, never satisfied, never grounded, never really alive. Think about the happiest, most fulfilled moments you've had in your life. Were they about comfort and quick pleasures, or were they the result of struggle, sacrifice, and meaning? Maybe it was graduating after years of hard work. Maybe it was helping someone when they needed you most. Maybe it was creating something you poured your heart into. Those moments feel different, don't they? They don't fade away the next day. They live inside you. That's purpose. The problem is, purpose often demands more of you than pleasure does. Pleasure asks for nothing, it just takes your time. Purpose, on the other hand, asks for discipline. It asks you to delay gratification. It asks you to push through when it's easier to quit. But that's also why it's so powerful. Because when you align with purpose, you no longer need the endless cycle of temporary highs. You're anchored, you're building something real. And here's what most people get wrong. They think living with purpose means you can't enjoy life. But it's not about rejecting joy, it's about choosing a deeper joy. When your actions line up with who you're meant to be, even the small things feel rich. Rest feels earned, relationships feel deeper, success feels deserved. Purpose doesn't strip life of pleasure, it elevates it. But here's the challenge. You have to decide which voice you'll listen to more often. The voice of pleasure that says, skip it, it's fine, take the easy way, you deserve it. Or the voice of purpose that whispers, stay the course, this matters, keep going. One will leave you empty and restless. The other will leave you with a life you're proud of when it's all said and done. Because in the end, nobody looks back on their life and says, I'm so glad I scrolled for hours, or I'm so glad I stayed comfortable. What we remember, what fulfills us, is that we lived with purpose, and that purpose gave everything else meaning. Look around at the people in your life right now. The friends you talk to, the coworkers you spend hours with, the family members who influence your thinking. Whether you realize it or not, they are shaping you. Human beings are mirrors. We reflect the energy, the mindset, and the standards of the people around. And over time, without even noticing, you start to think like them, act like them, and live like them. If you spend your days surrounded by people who complain constantly, who make excuses, who settle for mediocrity, it won't be long before you find yourself lowering your own standards to match theirs. Not because you want to, but because it becomes normal. On the other hand, if you put yourself around people who dream bigger, who challenge themselves, who push you to rise higher, you can't help but be pulled in that direction. That's the power of environment. It either holds you back, or it lifts you forward. Think about it like this. You could be the most motivated person in the room, but if the room itself is filled with negativity and small thinking, eventually it will drain you. It's like trying to swim upstream in a river that's flowing the opposite way. No matter how strong you are, the current will eventually wear you down. But if you place yourself in the right current, around people who are moving forward, you don't just survive, you accelerate. Their energy becomes fuel for your own journey. We often underestimate this. We tell ourselves, I can handle it, I won't be influenced. But the truth is, environment always wins. It's not about being weak, it's about being human. You will adapt to whatever atmosphere you breathe in every day. That's why athletes train with other athletes who push them hard. That's why entrepreneurs surround themselves with thinkers who challenge their ideas. That's why people of faith gather in communities that strengthen their beliefs. It's not by accident, it's by design. So ask yourself honestly, who are you letting shape you right now? Are you surrounding yourself with people who call you higher, or people who keep you stuck? Do the voices in your life build your courage, or feed your doubt? Do they encourage your growth, or quietly keep you small so they feel comfortable? Sometimes the hardest part of growth is realizing you may need to distance yourself from certain people, not because you don't care about them, but because you care enough about your future not to let it be poisoned. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You make space for the right people to enter your life. People who inspire you, challenge you, believe in you, and remind you of what you're capable of. Because at the end of the day, you don't just become what you dream of, you become who you're around. Dreams are beautiful. Ideas are powerful. Plans, goals, visions, they all have the ability to excite us, to inspire us, to give us hope, but let's be honest, none of them matter without action. You can sit in a room full of notebooks, journals, vision boards, and motivation videos, but if you don't get up and move, your life will stay exactly the same. It's so easy to get stuck in the trap of preparation. We convince ourselves that we're waiting for the right moment, the perfect plan, or just one more piece of knowledge before we start. But there is no perfect moment. The stars will never align just right. You'll never feel at some point, you just have to take the first step. Even if it's messy, even if it's small, even if you don't have it all figured out. Here's the truth. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. You don't learn by sitting still. You learn by doing. You don't gain confidence by waiting until you feel ready. You gain confidence by showing up when you're scared and realizing you survived. Action is the bridge between the life you have and the life you want. Without it, everything else is just talk. And I get it. Fear holds us back. Fear of failure, fear of what people will say, fear that we're not enough. But think about this. Failure only happens when you stop moving. As long as you keep taking action, failure is just feedback. It's a lesson, a stepping stone, a reader. Some of the most successful people you know didn't get it right the first time, or the second, or even the 10th. But they kept moving. They acted when others hesitated. That's what separates them. It wasn't brilliance, it was persistence. Sometimes we also tell ourselves that small actions don't matter. But that's a lie. Small actions compound. One page written every day becomes a book. One workout at a time transforms your health. One conversation at a time builds strong relationships. It's the consistent, often boring, small actions that create extraordinary results. So the question isn't, what do you want in life? The real question is, what are you willing to do today to move toward it? Because dreams without action are just wish. Goals without action are just words. And time without action is just wasted. At the end of your life, you won't be remembered for the plans you made or the dreams you had. You'll be remembered for what you did. So here's the choice in front of you. You can walk out of this room and keep living on autopilot, spending your time carelessly, staying comfortable, chasing short-lived pleasures, surrounding yourself with the wrong voices, and putting off action until someday, or you can decide that today is the line in the sand. Today is the day you take your time seriously. Today is the day you step into discomfort and chase your purpose. Today is the day you protect your environment and finally take action toward the life you've been imagining. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Don't wait for permission. It's not coming. Don't wait for tomorrow. You're not promised it. The only question that matters now is, what are you going to do with your life?